Okay, we are on our last two example problems of this section, and this is actually going to be kind of a review, you guys. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding and subtracting polynomials, which, if you think back to when we did function notation, so like the f plus g of x or the f minus g of x, okay, it's pretty much going to flow in the same way. So let's talk about how we do this. So let's start with our adding polynomials. Alright, when you add polynomials, when we start, you can drop all of the parentheses. You do not need parentheses when we add two things together because the order does not matter when you add things. So I'm going to rewrite the statement without my parentheses. That will be our first step. Holy hot dog, you guys. Okay, and after you drop the parentheses, all we have to do is combine our like terms, which remember, like terms have not only the same variables, but the variables must have the same exponents. And when we combine things together through addition or subtraction, you do not change the exponents. Do not touch the exponents. Just leave them alone. All that will change is the coefficient of your variable, or the number in front of your variable. So let's see if we have any like terms, you guys. And when we do this, let's start with the highest exponent term. So our term with the highest exponents are to the third power. So we have 2x to the third and 3x to the third. So these are like terms. Guys, so we do not touch the x's at all. Don't touch them. So I'm going to bring down x third. So I'm not even tempted to touch it. So we have x to the third. And all you guys do is add the numbers in the front. So 2 plus 3 gives me a 5. Okay, so those are donezo. All right, now I'm going to move on to the terms that have the next highest exponent, which when I glance across, the next highest exponent I see is the 2. Guys, so we're going to be combining all of the square terms, like there. Okay, so remember, we do not touch the exponents when we combine like terms. So I'm just going to bring down my x squared before I'm tempted to touch them and let the demon cats get to me. Alright guys, and then I just combine the numbers in front, which this one doesn't have a number, so that means there secretly is a 1 hiding out. Okay, so negative 7 minus 1 more gives me a negative 8, so minus 8x squared. Alright, and now we're going to go to our term with the next highest exponent, which the next highest exponent that I spot is to the first power. So these, even though I don't see an exponent, there secretly is an x to the first right there. And if I see here at my lonely x to the first, I see there are not any more x terms at all. Okay, so it has nothing to combine to. Okay, so all we're going to do is just bring down the x since it has nothing to combine to. Alrighty, you guys, and finally, we are going to move on to our terms without the x. So that will be our last step. So the terms without the x include our negative 4. That's a negative 4 right there. So a negative 4 and a positive 2. And since these don't even have x's, you guys, we don't really have to think too hard. We just combine them. So negative 4 plus 2 will give me a negative 2. Bam, we are done with this problem. That is our final answer. Awesome job, you guys. Now, example 9 is pretty similar, but now we're dealing with subtraction, which there will be a little trick with subtraction. So if you don't remember from when we did function notation with subtraction, you might want to watch. If you think you already know, though, you can go ahead and try the problem and see if you get the right answer in the end. Okay, so with subtracting polynomials, you can drop the first parenthesis, but we are not going to drop the second one yet. So I'm going to bring all this down right here. I'm going to bring it out of the parenthesis. So we got x squared plus 5x minus 3. So I brought all that stuff down. Now, before I can bring these guys over here down, I have to do something about this negative sign. So there is secretly a negative 1 in front of that parenthesis, which if you ever have a number out in front of a parenthesis when you solve, you gotta distribute that bad boy to all the terms in here. Okay, so negative 1 times 6 will be a negative 6. Negative 1 times negative 7x squared is positive 7x squared. And negative 1 times 2x is a negative 2x. Okay, so after this, you guys, we just solve it like we did up here. We just combine our like terms. So if you want to try to do that, if you think you can do that, try it and fast forward to the end. Otherwise, follow along. All right, so we're going to start with the highest exponent term, okay, which the highest exponent I see is something to the second power. So that's going to be the first thing I look at. Okay, so I have one x squared there and another x squared there. Okay, remember, we do not touch the exponents when we add or subtract with variables. The demon cats are going to tell you to multiply them, but you don't. Okay, so here, I'm just going to bring down my x squared before I'm tempted to do anything with it. All right, now this x squared, I do not see anything in front of it. So there's secretly a 1 in front. And then I'm just going to combine both of these bad boys together. So 1 plus 7 will give me 8. So this is 8x squared. All right, so now I'm going to move on to my term with the next highest exponent, which the next highest exponent I see is a 1. But you're probably like, holy hot damn, Miss Long, what are you talking about? I don't see a 1 in my exponent. Well, whenever you just see an x sitting there by itself, secretly there's a 1 as the exponent. Okay, so I'm going to bring down my x. I'm not even going to touch the exponent. It's just my x, or x to the first. You can write it either way. And then I'm going to combine the values in the front. So I'm looking at this one and this one. So 5 minus 2 will give me a 3. So it'll be plus 3x. Alrighty, our final terms, you guys, are the ones without the variables. So I got negative 3 and a negative 6. And all I have to do is combine them. So negative 3 minus 6 more, we're getting more negatives, so it'd be negative 9. And bam, that one is done, so you guys. We are done with this problem. Awesome job, you guys.